What if I told you everything you know about creating cinematic videos is wrong? Welcome to a podcast that is going to change the way that you're creating videos. If making your content look professional has felt impossible without spending a ton of money, this episode is made for you. Forget about what we've heard about needing expensive equipment like $5,000 camera and stuff like that. You don't. Think professional cameras and complex setups are essential? Not anymore. With the latest advancements in AI, phone technology getting better and better, your phone can do things that used to need expensive gear. And guess what? We've got a way to triple your results by adjusting a few simple settings on your phone. It only takes 5 minutes. Our guest, Nico Patero, is a living proof. He went from beginner to a viral sensation using simple techniques that anyone can master. And the best part is, you don't need years of experience or costly gear to do it. But that's not all. Nico reveals a powerful tool that can upgrade your videos and breaks down his strategy of going viral. Stay tuned as we unpack the exact methods that have helped content creators just like you hit viral success. And it's easier than you think. This podcast is a true game changer. It has the power to transform the way that you create content. Let's get started. Auntie?
John?
Today we have a new guest. I saw this content creator on Instagram and the background and setup was looking amazing. And he was claiming it was just with his phone. And for us to create like a professional looking setup, we bought cameras, lights, lenses, expensive gear to set up our studio here in Athens and as well like remotely. And for creating professional looking videos for my brands and our clients, we used to hire professionals. And I really, when I saw this content, I couldn't believe that you can do this from your phone. That's why I brought him today to share his secrets and actually help UGC creators, creators in general, and brand owners that might, like that we have in our audience, that might be watching on how you can actually create pro looking videos with just their phones and the CapCut. Let me introduce, here with us, we have Nico Pacheco. Hi, Nick.
Hello, how are you guys?
Very good.
We're good, we're good. Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Where are you now?
I'm currently in California, so United States, closer to Los Angeles.
Oh, okay, that's great. We are in Athens at the moment, Greece. Okay. Yeah, but the technology came too far, like we can have this conversation right now, just remotely, which is amazing, yeah. And with good, high quality audio and video, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, so can you introduce yourself to our audience? What's your story?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Nico Patero. I'm currently 19. I'm in college, so I'm doing content creation more part-time. I started it thinking about 4 months ago, so I'm fairly new to it still. And the reason I started was I just wanted to I wanted to have a voice in Instagram where I mainly focus on, and I wanted to find my niche, which is why I first started posting content. I first started actually teaching people how to grow on social media, but I found out that doesn't really work if you don't have a following, because you're just lying to other people about what you're trying to teach them. So I took a step back and I thought to myself, what do I know and how can I teach other people and put it into a simple way for them to produce the same content that I do by only using a phone, which I ended up choosing, which was my niche. So I decided to go all into content and figure out how to make content solely around teaching people how to produce high-level content with only a phone. So once I did that, I posted a couple videos. I've probably only been doing it for about a month, this specific niche. And then my fourth video on that ended up getting, I think right now it's at 1.5 million views and it's still climbing. So that just kind of reaffirmed my suspicions of people want to learn how to create content, and nowadays everyone wants to create content and they only have phones usually. No one has the money to buy thousands of dollars worth of cameras, especially if you're beginning. So that's why I chose this niche, and I'm loving it so far, and I want to continue going down that path.
Okay, okay, that's really good and inspiring, especially at this young age that you trying to find your way around social media and actually make a living out of them.
Yeah.
So I would like to ask, like, specifically mobile video production, how that
Mhm.
came about. Like, how did you manage to find that niche?
So I I always liked watching people that made high quality content, or usually filmmakers or people that make cinematic content on Instagram. But what it came down to is I don't really have that skill of creating that the movie like content that they post on Instagram. I also don't have the $3,000, $4,000 cameras and lenses that they have, and I just thought to myself, I don't want to go down the videography route, but I do know how to use a phone, and I think most people do somewhat. But I thought to myself, actually, I found somebody that did the same thing as me. He is a bigger creator. He does filmmaking with his phone as well. He makes probably around $2 to $3 million a month solely on his course. And I thought, I can do this. All I have to do is learn how to do it, be uh, kind of just document my way and document my trial and error of trying to figure out how to create great content only using my phone. So that's how I picked that niche out. I thought it's simple enough. It's in demand. People are always creating content. There's always thousands of more content creators every single day starting up, and they usually start with just a phone. So how can I market to those guys? And how can I teach them in the end how to film the best looking content possible with cheaper setups and using only a phone, which not everybody has, but most people nowadays have at least an iPhone or a Samsung.
Yeah, yeah, that's a really cool idea, and I really like the fact that yeah, videography is something really expensive as well. Like it's not easy to go into videography and
Yes.
photography specifically because yeah, the equipment, the for professional equipment is really expensive. Like the camera that we have like on studios, like $2,000, and like a thousand
Exactly.
more like for just a lens, just buy one lens. So
Yes.
yeah, it's very hard for somebody to get into that, and probably like it's saturated niche as well because a lot of people
Yes.
actually they're cinematographers and they create content, and YouTube is full of them because they have like this creative edge and they want to create something online, and they go to YouTube. So there are a lot of people actually doing that on YouTube,
Yeah.
and yeah, that definitely makes sense that you pick a specific niche that doesn't actually require you to have all this equipment, and but as well you have the you had a disadvantage. Maybe you didn't want to spend the money, or you didn't have the money to actually buy this equipment, and you turn it into an advantage, which is a really good thing.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and apart from that, another big issue around that is that most people don't have like it's difficult to teach them cinematography. You can teach only a really specific type of people that have the actual equipment. So the barrier
Mm,
to entry is really high. But in your case, you can market to anyone that wants to create online content, right?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and
I mean, I'm still in college, so I just did not have the money to purchase a camera like that. And even if I did, the amount of years I would have to put into becoming a good videographer would probably take 2, 3, 4 years. And I just thought to myself, um, I don't enjoy it enough to put in the time to do that.
yeah, yeah, you can ask your mother or your father. It is possibility. You can,
Yeah.
yeah, or somebody like can lend you money. This is a possibility
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, I just don't think now, as after I've built my audience around using my phone, I don't think I'll ever go to an expensive camera.
Yeah, yeah, you
because
will, but
that's
okay.
your niche, I think. So from the moment that this is your niche, you have to serve this way right now to
Hmm.
do all the content that you have in your phone, right?
Yeah. For me, I just want to be as authentic as possible. So I want to show them that the back like basically the behind the scenes. I use my phone to record content. I use CapCut. I sit at my desk for a couple of hours editing in CapCut, and I want to show them that I'm going along the same path as them, and I'm not someone that's different from them. And if I can do it, so can they. And I don't have expensive equipment to do that. I have probably $500 worth of my lights and my background, I mean my monitor as well. But I just want to be able to relate to them as much as possible.
Yeah.
And
That definitely makes sense.
and you're doing it also like with a free shop software like CapCut. You are not using Adobe Premiere or
Yeah,
some other software. So it's everything
yeah,
free to create this content. So
exactly.
what do you think is actually what brought you like to 7,000 followers? And I guess until the end of the year, I bet that you will get to 50K with this rate that you are growing. Uh, do you think it's just like your skill on showing like how you can create videos like this with just your phone? What other skills you think you have right now and you are improving? Storytelling, maybe how to create the hook, the angle. What other skills?
Yeah. So one thing I like to do is I had a video go pretty viral. I had a couple, and I like to just go back and look at the structure, how I hooked them in, but also the value I provided and how quickly I got to that value. Something I realize lots of people do in social media nowadays is they like to draw out people in their videos just so they can get that the engagement and so they can get the retention rate on their videos. But what I figured out, I wanted to just try this out and think if I can make it as short as possible, provide as much value as possible, and then offer that last step. So I in my video that hit 1.5 million, I offered everything but one step at the end that everyone needed in order to create the best looking videos, and I offered that as my lead magnet. And so they got everything they needed all the way up to the last step. And at that last step, I said, if you comment CapCut, I'll send you the export settings you need to create these videos. And what I found out was if you offer as much value as possible, of course, I still have to working on my storytelling and my hooks, but if you offer as much value as possible and as short as a time, then you basically already have an audience and people love that. They don't want to be drawn into something that doesn't actually offer them value. And I think the thing that hooks people in, of course, is it's like judging a book by its cover. But on social media, if your content looks amazing, you already have people paying attention. So that's what I want to focus on first. I wanted to make it look as good as possible with what I had. And I think I've been doing that and I think I've done that. So from there, it's just how much value can I provide in as little a time, and then how can I also build a business off of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That definitely makes sense, and it's something that I've seen a lot. Like there are clickbaity like videos that try like to hook you, and yeah, those videos were working really well in the beginning, but right now they stopped because like
Yeah.
people are educated now, and they won't scroll through your feed to find the part two or part three of the video. Like those
Exactly.
were scammy like cheesy ways to capture attention, and you need to find more new and new. Like so, whenever somebody whenever everybody like goes to the left, you have to go to the right. And I want to ask you about the video that you created that went to 1 million and plus views. For this video, what was the process? Because for us we had some viral videos go here like locally, like go to 700K, but it was merely luck. Like it was clips from the Greek podcast that we have, and yeah, we didn't actually like create hook and stuff. We just were telling stories, and the story was intriguing, and um, people actually saw the video and went viral on TikTok and on Instagram.
Yeah.
But what was your intention? Or did you have an intention, or just like brute force your way into it?
So that video specifically was, I mean, any video that gets over 1 million, I think there is luck involved in it, unless you have a massive audience. I only had 200 followers at that time. So for it to get 1 million, it is a massive amount of luck, but also some structure. I um I got the idea from someone else that had a similar following, and it got about 40,000 views. So it's pretty big for that channel size, 200 followers, 40,000 views. But I thought to myself, how can I make this better? And how could I offer more value? And then that hook at the end, how can I hook them in and make them comment a word so I can again offer value to them, but also get that engagement rate up. So I needed more viewers to have more viewers and followers to have more of an authority in the niche. So I just needed to figure out how to do that. And I do think that video specifically was luck and intention as well. I mean, the hook was pretty good. People wanted to figure out what I was trying to do or what I figured out. That's the hook. In the hook, I said I figured this out. So people were already intrigued on that. But I think that video specifically was a big majority of luck. I mean, I was rushing home. I edited it as quick as possible. I uploaded it at 11 o'clock at night and I went to bed. I did not look at any of the views or anything, and I woke up to it at 7,000 views. It wasn't a lot, but it was big for my channel. And then I thought to myself, this was scripted very well. Um, Everyone uses CapCut for majority. Most people use CapCut, especially if they're starting. And if they want to know the best way to create the highest quality videos or content with CapCut, they have to comment that word. And that's why now it's at more than 30,000 comments, and that's what really drove uh, that massive amount of reach.
Yeah, that's great. And what you said about the structure of the video, like made me realize something. Like many people actually like create videos and they actually learn from them. Like you create a video, it's the basic structure. Like you create a video, you see how it performed, you iterate, and then you create a new one, and you become better in this like. If you have this structure and you actually see the data around your videos, especially organically, this definitely makes sense. But also in paid ads as well, like it's a common thing that you see like an ad is winning, and then you iterate on it, and it's winning even more. So it's a process. But I was wondering, like, the data are already there. You can see actual videos that have went viral, and you can study from other creators and what went viral for them, and actually imitate this specific structure. Like see the changes, see the data without you having to actually create. But I don't see many people actually learning from that, and I think that this is because many people actually learn from their mistakes. Like it's very hard to like know something, to actually have it in you. Like, okay, I know this. If you see it be done by somebody else, you need you to actually do it and make the mistake. So the data are there, but you learn from your mistakes. What do you think about that?
Well, again, the wisest people in the world learn from other people's mistakes. A smart man learns from his own mistakes, but the most ingenious people on this planet will learn from other people's mistakes. And I think it is hard, especially when you're younger or you're just starting out, to learn from other people's mistakes because you don't entirely understand their bigger picture and why something went wrong, which is why I just decided to pump out as much content as possible and learn from it. I mean, a big lesson I took away, I played sports, I still play soccer, is mess up as many times as possible, as fast as possible, and you will learn by default. And once you get a basic understanding of what does go wrong or how something goes wrong, then look at what other people are doing and how can you learn from their mistakes and fully understand what went wrong or what went right for them, because now you understand how things go good or how things go bad because you did it so many times, and then you just build off from there. You have to do some amount of work to be able to understand how something goes right or how something goes wrong, and then once you understand that, you can look at other people and basically just go through all of their content in this example, go through all their content and pick up what went right for them. You know why it went right for them, and just not copy, but reiterate that style or reiterate that reel, and it's almost guaranteed to go viral. And as long as you understand why it goes viral, then you really learn something, and it's a reason why after I got 1 million views, I'm able to still get 20,000, 15, 20,000 on still a relatively small channel, just because I understood the right structure that actually works.
Yeah. I completely agree, and I would like to ask you more about because we talked like about how you went there, but your niche specifically is about creating videos using your phone, like pro videos using your phone. So walk me through the process. Like how do you actually stage the lighting or the setup or the camera or the settings that you might use that actually make a difference? Because some of them are less important than others.
Yeah.
So yeah, walk me through the process. Like how do you actually make this happen?
Yeah. So the biggest thing, especially with iPhones and phones in general, is lighting. Our phones really suck if there's not enough lighting, and it'll cause a lot of noise in the video. So I think the biggest thing you have to change is your lighting. I have a light right in front of me, around 45 degrees right on my right, and then I have background lights. I don't have all of them on right now just because I'm not filming content, but I have something in the back to make sure it separates me from the background, and then I'll have a light to my left just to lightly light up this side. And I think if you have that set up first, then making content is much easier. And if we go into more advanced things, I use a third-party app. It's called Moment camera app, and what it lets you do is adjust your shutter speed, your ISO. So I film at around 400 ISO, and my shutter speed is around 1/60th. So I think those settings, and of course it always depends on what type of lighting you're in. If you're in a more controlled area, I use those settings just because it's a good mixture between having clarity in the video, so it looks good and sharpened, but it also um, doesn't have too much noise in the background, or it doesn't provide too much motion blur whenever you're moving. And then I think the third step would just be color grading and understand how to color grade. I offer a lot of my LUTs to other people just because it works for them. But I mean, you have to really understand color grading for your videos to look as good as possible. I'm sure you guys understand that. And once you get your color grading down and your lighting down, and then you briefly understand the right settings to film in, like filming in 4K or filming in 60 FPS, which I do, I think it just all comes together to form a beautiful piece of art, which is the content that I produce or other people produce.
Yeah, I would like to ask like why 60 FPS? Like I don't think that this is the like a cinematic like you don't export in 60 FPS, right?
Yeah. So I do go against the grain there, and I do export in 60 FPS. And the reason is I'm not filming content that's made to look cinematic unless I'm doing a video outside where I want to show motion blur. But what I have realized is I like the look of 60 FPS, and maybe I am wrong, but the way 60 FPS looks on Instagram for me, it just seems to look a little bit more sharpened, a little bit more smooth, which I mean, it is more frame rates, it makes sense. But 60 FPS has seemed to be working for my style of content, and I think it just adds a little bit of an edge to the content I produce because it just makes it look more smoother on people's screens.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. I would like to ask about the app, like the app that you're using. Do you see like any major changes with the app? Because the lighting, definitely, like I completely agree. The sensor of the mobile phone is like tiny compared
Yeah.
to a regular like full frame camera. So it makes sense.
Mhm.
Like you need a lot more lighting, like to
Yes.
lit up the place, basically. But the apps, I'm not so sure like they work properly because most of the apps, yeah, they're software on top of like the sensor. So I don't know like
Mhm.
if they actually make any difference. What is
Yeah.
your thoughts around that?
So I think I don't think you need them. I just like it because it allows me a little bit more customizability when I'm working um, in where I am right now, just filming content. I like to change the shutter speed and the ISO just a little bit because I think our phones tend to overexpose a lot of places, and I don't like just dropping the exposure sometimes. I like to change the ISO. I keep it around 400, and maybe drop the exposure to like negative zero point 0.3 or negative zero point 0.7. But I think the biggest thing um, on iPhone, I don't use a Samsung, is in that app, you're allowed to film in a flat color profile. It's called flat moment, or there's two of them, flat moment or log moment. And it's basically, it's just a flat profile. And only if you have a 14 Pro, 15 Pro, or now the 16 Pro, you can film in the Apple ProRes RAW, which is that same exact flat profile, so you can color grade in post-processing. But since I didn't have that newer phone, I needed to use something that gave me that flat profile because I wanted to test out how good I was at color grading. But again, I don't think you need to use a third-party app. It's definitely not necessary. I just found that I like to use it.
So
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
iPhone, you record in cinematic or just video? Like,
I film in cinematic so I can change the
cinematic.
f-stop.
Okay. So in cinematic on iPhone, it's keeping much more space, right? It's when you film in cinematic, I think you
Yes.
can film like 30 seconds, and it's like 300 megabytes, right, of file.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a much smaller, and I just like the way I can change the f-stop so I can have the blurred background a little bit, the bokeh, just so it looks a little bit better. I don't have a perfect background, so I don't want to show the imperfections of my background, and I just think it looks a little bit better.
What's your
Yeah, yeah,
opinion about
completely.
iPhone 16 right now? Because a lot of people are saying in the reviews that if you want to switch, switch just for the camera. Do you see big upgrades to the camera that make sense to
Um,
take the new iPhone?
they increased the sensor size and they allowed, I think, 4K at 120 FPS. Personally, I wouldn't switch. It's not a big enough difference for me to take that jump. I've seen videos of comparing the 15 Pro and the 16 Pro, and there's almost no difference. I wouldn't spend the money on it if I'm gonna go. I mean, cameras or phones nowadays are pretty expensive. I would just go buy a low-end camera if I was gonna go to a 16 Pro. But if you have a 15 Pro or all the way down to I think a 13, you're completely fine. You don't need that new camera. It's not a big enough change in those newer models.
Yeah, yeah. But for your case, like you shouldn't buy a camera. Like your whole stick is that you are filming from your phone, so don't buy a
Yeah,
camera.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna buy a camera. I'll probably stick to a 15 Pro and maybe just grab the 16 Pro for so I can trade it in for higher value next year.
Yeah, yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah, and the other thing that I have noticed with all those minor changes that you do, like in the camera, because it is a big issue for YouTube creators and e-commerce owners that they want to actually create content, which is the main thing that can drive actual sales, like create content,
Yeah.
either for ads or for organic reach. So it's the one thing that we advise every customer that we have, create more content. And they get stuck, like they open the camera and they see like, okay, it's horrible, like I cannot post that, or I cannot talk like that, it's not like it doesn't look amazing, which
Hmm.
it's wrong in my opinion, like it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, most of them like they want that premium feel, and when you tell them one setting, they don't. They like 4K. It's just it's suited 4K. The change is minimal, so they
Yeah.
actually see like no results based on that, and they actually get discouraged and they say, okay, this is not working. But it's actually really small things that you need to do in your camera and your phone to actually make that, and all those minor changes are going to affect the
Add up.
result. For
Hmm.
example, like, yeah, they are going to add up. Like, for example, like have lighting, not just lighting as you said, like just like all over the place. Have it at 45 degree angle, and have like a backlight to separate you from the
Hmm.
background. Like all these
Yeah.
add up, and you actually create a scene that actually looks pleasing. And after the color
Yeah.
grading, like pass it through CapCut and stuff. And that's really important. About the app also is another issue that I want to talk about. You use CapCut, right? As you
Hmm.
said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So CapCut, how do you feel about that? Like, do you think it is limiting on the color grading? Because many people, if you go around, if you search YouTube, you're going to find like a lot of videos telling you how CapCut is horrible at color grading. How do you feel about that?
I I think it does depend on what type of content you're making. But what I have found is I think the upgrades I use on PC. So my computer CapCut, I think it allows a little bit more flexibility with the color grading. But when I combine them with LUTs that already set the stage, and then I just go in and change some of the curves and some of the hue changes, I think it is very capable in that sense. I don't think you need to have Premiere Pro or DaVinci or After Effects to do your color grading, um, or even editing in general. If you don't want to learn it, if you want to learn it, by all means go learn it. It takes a while, but the end result does look a little better. But for the color grading standpoint, I think CapCut is way way more capable than people think it is, from my perspective.
Yeah, yeah. I agree because we use CapCut a lot on editing. We use also Premiere Pro, but CapCut, yeah, does the job, especially for UGC content. You don't need anything else. Like you can just
Yeah.
create like content from your phone, and you can actually edit from your phone. It's not handy. Like it's very difficult for you to actually make edits from your phone because like you have like a small screen. You can move around things, so it's hard. It's not very good for that. But definitely like using it on a Mac or on a laptop, yeah, it can make like a huge difference on the
Yeah.
output that you are going to produce.
Yeah, exactly. I think
Yeah,
the biggest reason I use computers in general is because they allow more flexibility in the export settings, and I think CapCut on your phone likes to compress your video quality no matter what settings you have on it. So if you use the right settings on CapCut and you use the right export settings, I think that you can maintain that video quality that you work so hard to get.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And another thing about LUTs you said, I was wondering, like, first of all, LUTs, like having filters, it's something that I like. You sell this kind of product?
I do not sell them. No.
Okay, okay. So I can be completely honest. Yeah, I don't see like how they can actually perform better for your video. Like if you don't know how to actually color match, if you can actually like see what LUT is going to do to your video, like because LUTs like are high-end filters basically. So if
Yeah.
you don't know like the setup and the lights, the color of the lights, and actually see, okay, for example, like you have contrast, you have create contrast with the orange background, and if you put like just any LUT like from a collection, it won't work and it won't look good.
Yeah.
Like you have to create like a specific scene. So in my point of view, like it's much better from just like purchasing LUTs, especially LUTs on videos, like on CapCut videos and stuff, because like if you have like an amazing camera and you purchase LUTs for Lightroom, for example, yeah, those are working great because like you have the dynamic range to do everything. Like
Yeah.
if you put the LUT, yeah, it changes the complete picture. But it's if you have a tiny sensor like from your phone, for example, and you try to put a LUT on it, like more times than not, you are going to burn the image. So it's much better for, in my opinion, to actually learn how to color grade yourself rather than just use LUTs. You will save time eventually by doing that.
Yeah. I think the niche I'm in is very. They like to have results fast, and I don't think I don't think every content creator out there wants to focus as much on color grading, or they don't want to take the time to learn how to color grade. So, I mean, I offer a lot of LUTs for them, and what I have seen is some positive feedback. Just because you can always change how intense the LUTs are, and I think for some people with some content, if they understand the lighting, if they understand the right settings, can make a difference by just setting the stage, and then color grading in the end is it's all an opinion, it's all objective, and if you don't if you know what you're looking for, it's easier, but I think it is all an opinion. And if you like the way one thing looks, then you stick with that. And I think you can use LUTs just to set the stage for your color grading. And if you don't want to learn or take the time to learn color grading, then you can just use LUTs and maybe adjust some of the few things on CapCut.
Yeah, I definitely agree to some extent. I definitely think that there is opinion involved, but there it is. You can imagine like when color grading, there of course like something that you may find looks good to another person, they don't like, or they see like they prefer another part like of color grading or another like dynamic range that they can use. But I think that it is an opinion to some extent, but if you go beyond, like for example, like if you try to burn the image, or if you try to over to really underexpose to a point where you don't see details in the image, yeah, I don't think that it goes like it is an opinion around that. Like if you create contrast, basically you are creating a good image. I would like to focus on because LUTs are very important, and editing in general is something that it can be improved. And as you can imagine, I'm seeing your content like on Instagram, and definitely it doesn't look like it's coming from an iPhone, and that's admirable. But I want to know, like, with all this technology, AI technology, with software, is there anything that you have seen that actually improves the quality really, like amazing results based on AI? Because I have seen a lot of things working with AI, especially images working with AI, and there are technologies out there that can actually improve dramatically an image, dramatically, like improve it like CSI style. But for videos, I haven't seen that.
Yeah. So there is a very well-known AI software out there. It's called Topaz AI, and it's an AI upscaler, but you can't really upscale on Instagram because it only allows 1080p or a compressed 4K. So upscaling doesn't really help out. But what it does do is it sharpens your images. It reduces noise. So it is kind of expensive. It's about $300. It's a one-time purchase. But for videos, I would highly recommend Topaz AI. I have used it in some of my videos, and I've seen it works pretty decently. And I think if you want to be more of a high-end creator, that Topaz AI is a really great investment for that. You can probably search it up right now. But I personally think if you want to go towards YouTube or towards just creating really great looking content, Topaz AI is the only software that I've so far seen that creates great images or great videos and upscales them and makes it look just a little bit better, or sometimes a lot times better if your video doesn't look as great.
It can work
Yeah,
also
okay,
for long
that's
format videos.
What was that?
It can work also for long format videos, like
Yes, so the only thing that it does do is you have to have a good PC for this. So I have a decent PC. The rendering times for, say, a 4K video that is hopefully 10 to 15 minutes could be 11 to 12 hours. So it could take a while for it to render. Of course, if you're posting YouTube, doesn't really matter because you could just post it the next day. But if you want to stay consistent on social media, it isn't always as helpful just because those render times can take a while. But if you're filming a 15, 30-second video, it's a lot faster, and you're not exporting in 4K, or uploading in 4K, so it's doing it in 1080p, so even that's a little quicker. I think if you're doing short form, use Topaz AI, long form, Topaz AI. It works great for both things.
As I'm understanding, Topaz is like basically like takes your video and like split it in frames, like 20 frames per second, and actually edits every single image, every single frame based like using AI. So that's why it's taking so long, and it's not like a new technology. It's the same technology that Photoshop has, but like specialized on video. So yeah, that's something really cool. And I was wondering, like, why we have that on Photoshop, and we have that on images. Why we cannot have that on video?
Videos.
So yeah, so that's a great tool that you can use to increase, like to improve the video output. And the thing is that okay, you can like upscale to 8K. You cannot use 8K, but actually, like if you import an 8K video, like, and downscale it like to 1080p, for example, and compare it to an 80p video, like it's a huge difference, because it has a lot more data inside. So downscaling a big video, like it actually makes a huge difference, because in social media you cannot post like 8K. So I can understand what you're saying, but still, like, it removes a lot of noise. Do you think that this part, like this, because when I use AI for images specifically, when I try to edit images, this is a big issue for me. Like, sometimes it creates a lot of artifacts, stuff that wasn't there. Like, because this is what AI does. Like, it actually tries to think like what was there, and tries and actually generate new pixels. So many times it creates a new image, a completely different image. So have you ever thought about, have you ever seen that happening on Topaz, or it's
So there's a lot of things you can change. It's very customizable. So if you're doing it at 1080p, you'll keep it at 1080p, but there's also ways to reduce artifacts or increase the amount of artifacts in the image if you want to. They have probably about 6 or 7 sliders. Things like recovering compression, but also like anti-aliasing, denoising, things like that. So if you want to reduce the amount of artifacts, you could. I forget the slider, the exact name for that, but there's ways to play with the software itself that will allow you to keep that natural feel to videos, but also add some sharpening and just make it look a little bit clearer. It also will add, if you, for example, film in 30 FPS and you want to upgrade it to 60 FPS or even 120, it will add frames itself into the video. It's called interpolation. That takes a lot longer, but I have seen it work very well with some videos. Just I was experimenting with it.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. I'm definitely going to check it. So, just do a recap, like, and before we move on, like to the last questions, like for you to actually create, let's say we want to create a professional looking video just for using our phone. Like, what is the main things that you need to know and you need to change on your mobile phone?
Yeah. So, I mean, on the phone or just in general, like lighting?
In
and
general.
other
In
things?
general.
Okay. So, number one, the biggest step I firmly believe in is having the correct lighting. You have to understand your lighting, because especially on a phone with a tiny sensor, you have to have the right lighting. Number two, I would say, is color grading. If you understand color grading, you can take an image from a pretty dull or average image to something that looks really great and amazing. And number three is understanding your settings and understanding what settings you have to film in, what the exposure level should be. I don't think you have to dive into the third-party apps, but if you have those three things, I think you can create an amazing looking video and post it to somewhere on Instagram or TikTok, and it will look great if you understand those things. Lots of people don't like to put in the time to understand them, but if you do, it will make a huge difference.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I would like to add something, because like it's something that a lot of people don't know. Like, but if you actually shoot a video or a photograph from your phone and you actually use the 2x zoom, it actually looks much better, because the lens is different. Like when you have like one step, like the first zoom setting, you get this iPhone look, this like, I don't know, like it is 18 millimeters look. But if you go to 2x, you have this 35 to 50 look, which looks a lot more photographic. So this is something that I have seen it working a lot. And that's why, like, when you go to cinematic, it straight goes to 2x view. So you can actually get this like compressed and really good looking view.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's great.
So now I wanted to move on the like you are doing content creation actually like at some point to make money, right? So
Yeah.
I want to understand if you have already been approached from brands in order to shoot video for them or to help them to grow their audience that has this like exposure to Instagram made you some money and or brought you some partnerships.
So it has. I'm not going to name names, but it has brought me some partnerships. They're currently in the working, but it's a pretty good amount of money for the size of the audience that I have, and I think my engagement rate's pretty good. So it does increase the amount I can charge for it. I don't think brands is the most consistent way to make money on social media because it does fluctuate. But I think if you work with one or two brands and you stick with them, it's a great not only partnership, but you can form a good community around it with your audience. And if you promote the right products, they can sell and you could continue to make more money off the sponsorships. But I think for me, the biggest thing is probably just growing the business around the content, which is, I mean, I'm still new to this, so I still have to learn. Um, I understand lead gens and email marketing to some extent, but I just need to create the actual products to sell. But I think sponsorships is a great first step, especially if you, for example, are working at that time and I'm in college, so the amount of money I make is different than somebody else who is a 35-year-old and they're just making content. But for me to make enough money to not only quit my job, but also just create more time for myself, I think brands are a quick and fairly easy way to do that if you have an audience.
That's great that you have done like already some partnerships, but the next step is like to create your own products around to create your own products with the audience that you will have. So one like big creator in your niche, which maybe you know him, is Kenyo Visuals. It's a guy from Germany, I think. He has a big audience right now. He has like 450K, and he has created like
Hmm.
his own courses and his own academy, and he's doing like really well. So yeah, there is a path there to do this and to teach people how they can shoot content, because right now with content you can make money with many different ways, like with on TikTok Shop, for example, because we run some for some clients TikTok ads. They have an affiliate program where people can go and hire content creators and pay them with a commission. So this is really great. Like you have so many different options to make money online through creating content, and if you have all these things that you are teaching to people, good lighting, good setup, and to learn some basic storytelling skills, like to tell a good story in the camera, you can actually make money through this
Yeah,
business.
yeah, I
So
agree completely.
do you consider like do you have you done also, are you active also on TikTok? Because I have seen only your Instagram.
No, I'm not active on TikTok. For my goal was to get to 10K on Instagram, then go to TikTok, just because the amount of time, I'm not going to post the same exact reel on Instagram to TikTok. I like to change up the editing for it to work for TikTok. I think you should do that. I just don't have the time to currently edit and do all that again on TikTok. Once I hire an editor, which I will probably do within the next month or two, I'll go to TikTok and I think it'll do good there.
Why do you think you need to have like better editing for that?
Not better editing, just someone who can do my job for me.
No, no,
And
no. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Wrong question. Like I used a different word and it sounded different. Like, okay, why do you think on TikTok you have to edit your videos differently in order for them to work?
yeah, I don't think it's editing specifically. I would actually have made a different hook or made a different look in TikTok, because I think Instagram's a lot more professional and TikTok is professional, but it also can be more personable and authentic. Uh, sorry, not authentic, more personable, and people like to scroll really fast past reels. So I think it has to be, I don't like to say the word, but more clickbaity. It has to draw in people quickly, has to give them value fast. And I think if you do that right on TikTok, it works great there. But on Instagram, people like that more authentic feel, which is what I try to go for. So I think there's just a different audience of people on those platforms. So I don't think creating the same content for Instagram works the same for TikTok, and I'm a firm believer in that.
Okay, that makes sense. And right now, like apart from partnerships, do you have like any plans, for example, like courses or something that you want? Like, what is the revenue streams that that you want to create, like, or you are able to create as
Yeah.
a content creator around your niche?
Yeah, so right now, currently, I'm going to release my course first. Just a pretty in-depth course that teaches people how to create actual content with their phone, but also how to edit, how to color grade, because I think people need to learn that, like I said, and also how to make, because you can record some pretty great audio using only your phone, or even just budget mics if you know how to equalize your audio. And also, there's some AI tools out there that allow you to enhance the way it sounds. So I think if I teach people how to do that, it will not only appeal to them, but I can also sell the next step, which is what I'm looking towards or forward to, is the mentorship and also a paid community. So I think those three right there are what my current goals are for the next about year or so. It's on my wall, sorry. Um, those three things are definitely going to be on my list for the next year. I'm planning to release my course within a month or so, and then just reiterate on that course, and then build out the community and as well as the mentorship.
That's really cool, and it's a very nice thing that you have your goals written. So, yeah, that's a great thing. Like many people try to do things without having goals, which I think it works for some, but at this really young age, goal setting is it cannot be like bad. It can only be a good thing, which I really like. So, do you have like anything else you want to share? Like anything last you want to share with the audience?
Um, I would just say start content creation and give yourself, it happened early for me, but give yourself a year and just try it out. But the only way you're really going to grow is if every single video you get a little bit better. And I think in general in life, you have to be kind of a little crazy to think that the next video is going to blow up. Because every time I went to bed, I thought to myself, this video is going to blow up, this one's going to blow up, this video is going to blow up. And it eventually did, but you have to have that tenacity and kind of that insanity to, I mean, you have to learn, but you have to change things, but the insanity to think that this is the one, this is the one, this is the one. And if you keep thinking like that, eventually it will be the one. But you have to put in the time to learn how to get to that level, and you have to be fearless in the way you attack content creation and just be authentic. The easiest way to start it is just to document your journey with whatever you're trying to learn.
Yeah, that was really inspiring. Yeah, I completely agree. Like, yeah, everyone nowadays, like especially like with the trajectory of how life is going and with AI and stuff like that. Yeah, I definitely think that content creation is something that you cannot go wrong with content creation. Definitely. Okay, so yeah, I think that we can close. This was a really nice conversation that we had with you, Nico. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for coming.
It was a pleasure meeting you, and
Yeah.
we're going to keep in touch. Yeah, so yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you guys. Thank you
Bye.
for everything. I had a great time.